I'm Christian Miles. Well, for Pepperdine, they come back after a 3-game road trip and happy to be back here in the cozy confines of campus life. Good start to the season for Tim Ward's men. Women, despite the loss to UCLA, they managed to rebound with a big victory away to San Diego, then played Stanford very tough, but ultimately narrowly losing out to the Cardinal. However, they rebounded last weekend with a monumental victory in their conference opener away to St. Mary's, and now they look to keep the momentum going against a San Francisco team that has really endured a start-stop campaign. Back on February 10th, it was a 1-0 win away to Pacific, and Jim Millender's team looking like they were off to the races. Slowed a bit the following week on Valentine's Day with a 1-1 draw away to St. Mary's, and then the wheels came off just a bit due to the COVID restrictions and guidelines. Matches against Stanford as well as Gonzaga were postponed. However, they did rebound this past weekend away to BYU in Provo, playing the 21st ranked team in the country. And despite a spirited effort, ultimately the Cougars winning out with a narrow 3-2 win. So 1 win, 1 draw, and 1 defeat for the Dons against a Pepperdine team looking, of course, for their 3rd victory of the season. An absolutely gorgeous day as the players take a knee in observance of racial and social equality. And it will be Pepperdine in the white attacking the goal to the right. And San Francisco get us underway. The first half is in play. Tim Ward, the head coach for Pepperdine, telling me he expects an open attacking game. Both teams like to play on the front foot. We will see the Waves come out in their usual 4-3-3 setup. It will be Zoe Cleveley in goal with Ishikawa at right fullback, Emily Sample and Trinity Watson in the center of defense, with the freshman Sampson operating at left back. 2 holding roles in that double pivot in the middle with the sophomore Shelby Little alongside the redshirt senior Maddie Cook. Joelle Anderson, good news, she's back and fit, and she'll sit just behind a front 3 of Tori Waldeck, who will start wide on the right. Devin Guilfoy coming in for the injured Carly Jamona, and of course Layla McFarland filling things out in a 3-pronged attack here for the Waves. And it'll be a free kick early on. Standing over it here is the redshirt sophomore Maddie Cook, and she'll let fly, sending it right into the teeth of that defense. A little uncomfortable for the Dons, and head tennis eventually parried out of play by the left foot of Joelle Anderson, who had to come off in the 28th minute at St. Mary's last weekend, had a bit of a quad strain. However, Tim Ward telling me that she's back to her best during training this week, and with the injury to Carly Jamona, she'll play a little bit of a deeper role as Devin Guilfoy will play that number 9 spot at the center forward position. So sent away by goalkeeper Molly Eby, a sophomore. And standing over this for the Dons is Ashley Humphrey. Has found some space, and Humphrey lets it go, and that one just sailing high over the crossbar. So an open start as we expected. San Francisco and head coach Jim Millender now in his 9th season, scoring 4 goals in the space of their first 3 games, but this is a team way back in 2019 that scored 40 times. Good enough for 3rd best in the West Coast Conference. That just 4 more than the Waves. So Zoe Cleveley lets it go. She's preferred in goal today. Once again to Kinsey Amon. And it will be Sampson now playing it for Cook. Pepperdine in possession, but it's won back by Cassidy George. She'll lay it off for Marissa Vasquez, the freshman from Diamond Bar, California, here at the Southern California region. It's a strong start here for the visitors. Always a tight game, always an open contest. You can expect goals, but neither of these two really liking to sit back. So a dead ball opportunity early on here, 3 minutes in for the Dons. Lowenhard easily repelled by Pepperdine defender Trinity Watson. Here's Samantha Kerwood-Wagner for San Francisco, finding some joy down this right-hand side. Catherine Hill, the redshirt sophomore from Salt Lake City, with nowhere to go. And eventually the Waves able to win it back. Slightly frenetic, but a week-long rest and all the training under their belt, anxious to get back to work as Cook takes over now, links up nicely with Joelle Anderson, and what a switch of direction from the senior. Trying to play it out, but neatly intercepted by Ashley Humphrey, who's covering ground, and a lot of it early on here. Watson trying to link up top with Layla McFarland. It's broken nicely for Humphrey with nowhere to go. But a lot of this being played in the Pepperdine half early on here. Here's Debbie Guilfoy for the Waves. We'll leave it back for Shelby Little. And a full head of steam right now for Layla McFarland, who's broken the lines, trying to reward the run of Tori Waldeck, who's done really well, making it diagonal across the face of that defense, and out it will go for a Pepperdine throw. And down the hill it goes. That is a stunning day. And it will be Pepperdine's Alex Sampson, the freshman from Phoenix, who plays it. Joelle Anderson will have a pop, and that one just wide of the far post, and a goal kick here. So the opening salvo's fired, and not even 5 minutes deep. Gives you an idea of the nature of this contest and how things could unfold in the long run. Pepperdine opening, as I mentioned, with that 3-0 loss to then number 4 UCLA, but looking for their first home win here and haven't played in Malibu since that defeat 1 month ago. They'll lay it back for Emily Sample. Little now for Ishikawa, the senior fullback, trying to work it down the line, and nicely read by San Francisco's Isabel Esparza. But it's one back, and here comes Little once again, looking for that width. Knocked wide by Humphrey, trying to find the link with Esparza, and it will be a Pepperdine throw. Quickly taken, it's Guilfoy with a clever quick turn. And did she do enough to earn the corner kick? Yes. It'll be the first of the afternoon for Pepperdine. So they'll bring up the big guns in Emily Sample. She'll be chiefly amongst the target and line up just outside the arc on the edge of the penalty area here. As you'll see San Francisco go into a zonal marking system. Anderson to take it for Pepperdine on the in-swinger, wreaking all kinds of havoc. It popped up and eventually caught by Eby. It's been pleasing on the eye early on. It'll drop for San Francisco's Kalena Teufel, showing some enterprise. Sample, though, able to intercept and cleared to safety by Maddie Cook. They like to create those overloads, it appears, San Francisco. Space for Vasquez. Has the overlap wide on the right-hand side. Brilliant work here from USF, and they've done well to earn their first corner. So returning fire in similar fashion. This one is end-to-end early on. This, of course, the 28th meeting between these two. Pepperdine with the edge historically with 15 wins in the prior 27 contests to 10 for the visiting Dons. Here comes the outswinger as it's sent right off the gloves of Cleveley, but it did drift out of play, so it will be a goal kick here for the Pepperdine goalkeeper, coming off a great performance, the West Coast Conference Defensive Player of the Week, after saving a penalty kick away to St. Mary's last weekend and preserving the clean sheet shutout. At the first of the campaign for Pepperdine. Throwing down this right-hand side, and once again, the preferred weapon of choice, Vasquez, but nowhere to go, and Pepperdine able to get it back. San Francisco in similar vein, they've yet to play a game at home. Most of their games, of course, played on the road. Expected to have that home contest back on February 20th against Gonzaga, but as I mentioned, called off due to the COVID restrictions. That's kind of the nature of the beast these days. A start-stop campaign and a delayed season. And it was a collision at midfield between Devin Guilfoy as well as Ashley Humphrey of San Francisco. The referee will call a halt and stop the clock and follow the medical protocol here. As both went up for it, and just a clash of heads. The medical staff will tend to things. Take a look on the replay. The knock in the back there was Ishikawa just underneath the likes of Humphrey. And she is still down. Guilfoy a little woozy and slow to get up, but able to stand up and walk off under her own power, which is always a positive sign. I mentioned it was Carly Jamona, the latest wave that sustained injury last week at St. Mary's, was having a wonderful game, but had to come off in the second half up in Northern California. Another look at it here. It was Ishikawa, and just sandwiched between the challenge between Ishikawa and Guilfoy, and down goes Humphrey. So she'll take an ice pack and come off, and early on here in the 9th minute, it will be Jim Millender forced to make a switch. He'll look to the bench and call upon the services of sophomore Marie Marlowe, up here wearing the number 43 in black. So play will resume. Of course, the last time out in 2019, San Francisco winning 10 of their 20 games, finishing 6th in the West Coast Conference. 3 places below Pepperdine with a record of 3 wins, 5 defeats, and 1 draw. Just trying to one-up themselves and make it possibly into the NCAA tournament. That's where the work begins now. So we resume play. Catherine Hill gets us started, a sophomore at the back. At the heart of that San Francisco defense, they'll look long and direct, but perfectly placed is Sample. He's been a busy defender early on. Here's Cassidy George, supported well by her center half, the number 6, Hill, forming that partnership in the back with Kenna Roth. But here comes Pepperdine behind the likes of Callista Reyes, who just checked in. Down she goes. Is an enterprising run from the senior midfielder. And once again, San Francisco opting to attack down this right-hand side. The physical nature kind of revealing itself here once again. This time it's Little who hits the deck. She's part of that double pivot in the center of midfield in support of Joelle Anderson. She'll partner Maddie Cook. We'll see how that understanding develops. So crucial and vital to this Pepperdine success. So Evie will send it up over the head of Cook. It drops fortuitously for the very busy Marissa Vasquez, trying to find a link with Marlowe, the substitute, and that will drift out of play. And a goal kick for Zoe Cleveley, the redshirt junior from Huntington Beach. Already with 1 shutout, and she's been kind of splitting time this season with Kinsey Amon. Along with that penalty kick stop last week at St. Mary's, making a couple of big saves after getting her first start, of course, in the first half against San Diego midway through last month. Here's Sample, leaving it for her keeper. So Cleveley directing traffic. Pepperdine scoring in every game but one. It was a tough season opening defeat, and they've got it free from Anderson, and there's a smart decision back there from defender Kenna Roth. who made the right move, with Anderson closing in and bearing down on goal. It'll be a throw-in now for Pepperdine. Good decision from the freshman defender from Newburgh, Oregon. Meanwhile, Guilfoyle looking to go right back to work, but nowhere to go. Space, very much a precious commodity. And here comes Kalena Teufel now with some space down the right. She'll need some support, and a drop of the shoulder trying to work her way past Sample. Great cross, but a little bit too far behind Marlowe. And it's tracked down by Pepperdine's Ishikawa, who sends it to safety. Esparza. And a full-blooded challenge met by Joelle Anderson. So it will be a free kick awarded to the visitors. Roth for Samantha Kerwood-Wagner. Trying to work it forward once again to Vasquez. Has been a lively character to start this one today for the visiting Dons. So it will be another corner kick coming up here for San Francisco. Their second of the afternoon, and to take it will be Vasquez. Played at Legends FC, a highly regarded club here in Southern California, after coming out of Diamond Bar High School. So Pepperdine in that man-marking system here. See what San Francisco can draw up. Cleveley gets a hand to it, and eventually steered to safety. Controlled by San Francisco's Kerwood-Wagner, and she'll send it deep into this left-hand side for Teufel, who slips past Little, and it's Teufel. Not a bad effort, but dragging it just wide. Good in 1v1 situations and very good on the ball is Kalena Teufel, the third-year starter from Phoenix, Arizona. Managed to set one up last weekend for Humphrey in that loss to Brigham Young. So a slight bit of a scare for Pepperdine goalkeeper Zoe Cleveley, who sends it away. Vasquez, very busy. Cassidy George trying to form that understanding in midfield. And out comes Eby all the way outside of her penalty area by about 20 yards. Well read by the sophomore goalkeeper. And here comes Marlowe, though. He's stolen it away from Little, trying to square it across where Teufel was waiting. In support now is Jamison Ward, who will send it into the danger area, but perfectly placed is Emily Sample. The Dons have the Waves pinned in, and Ishikawa, excellent 1v1 defending from the experienced senior, but unable to clear their lines. Ward tangling on the near side with the freshman Waldeck before Isabella Esparza is onto the scene. It will drift out for a Pepperdine throw here on the near side. Quarter of an hour played. I can't tell you, it's been a pretty open affair, especially the first 5 minutes. Pace subsiding just a bit as Ishikawa will throw it in. Anderson. Such a gifted player, and very happy to have her back. Of course, I mentioned in her senior season, already drafted by the NWSL with a 26th pick. Well, she will be going to the Houston Dash. She's have a bright future ahead of her in the game. You see the strapping on her right leg there. She's a bit of a quad strain. She's been nursing, but she's been spry in training and up for the battle today as a free kick is awarded to the Waves here inside their own half. Still no goals between San Francisco and the Pepperdine Waves as Sample will send it up looking for Waldeck, and it drips out of play. And most of this game being played in the Pepperdine half early on. So a throw now for Esparza. Marlowe did well. Mopped up nicely in midfield by Shelby Little. Now Trinity Watson. Watson, of course, preseason All-West Coast Conference pick. And the Waves struggling for possession early on, and it's offside on that right-hand side. It was Teufel just mistiming her run and caught behind Watson. So a free kick here for Pepperdine. Tim Ward telling me we got the results we deserved last weekend at St. Mary's. You're the better team. St. Mary's set up, and space was at a premium in that game. Not the story today. Quite the converse is Watson trying to work it down the line, but offside. Melissa Reyes just solidifying things there on the left-hand side of attack for Pepperdine. As McFarland drops into the middle. She'll be flanked by the freshman Waldeck, who was on target last weekend. Waldeck having quite the freshman season. Already bagging a couple of goals. Scored the winner at St. Mary's, as I mentioned, and also managed to find the back of the net in that win against San Diego back on February 12th, 4-1. Away to the Toreros. Takes a hop on Anderson, but Cook is there to clean it up in central midfield now. Here's Reyes. She'll need some support, and she'll get it from the freshman Sampson. And this is where Pepperdine could do with a good spell of possession and try and open up this San Francisco defense. Watson. And it's McFarland dropping into space between the lines, and a full head of steam for McFarland, but eventually that one comes to an end, and Marlowe will send it away to safety on behalf of USF. Here's Little. High pressure here. Little looking long once again for Waldeck. Nicely headed clear by Kenna Roth in the heart of that San Francisco defense. And Little did really well to earn the throw-in. So the first substitution. We'll see a switch now. It'll be Little coming off. So checking in will be number 6, Helen Schaefer. And that will be like for like. No change to the tactical setup here for Tim Ward. As Schaefer will drop into a central midfield role and now form that understanding in support of Joelle Anderson just alongside Maddie Cook. Part of that double pivot setup that they like in this 4-3-3. Meanwhile, Ishikawa looking for Waldeck, well defended on the throw-in, and it drops fortuitously for Teufel. And too many touches that time for Marie Marlowe, a 5'7" sophomore from Fallbrook, California. Anderson. Reyes. Done really well now, and space opens up as Sampson in support from her left fullback role. It's Cook who took it first time and skies it well high of the crossbar. Have to applaud the build-up play and the approach from Pepperdine. They're getting more and more comfortable in possession. Starting to ask some of the questions after a spirited start here from the Dons. Kulge taking on the throw-in, but to the feet of Sampson. Mistakenly played to Teufel. Her works her way down the right, past the defense. Teufel, what a run here from Kalena Teufel trying to pick out Marlowe. Well defended by Ishikawa, who came across and provided very good cover for both Sample and Watson. But excellent play and a nice burst of pace from Kalena Teufel, the junior. Here's Marlowe. And nowhere to go, and easily intercepted by Ishikawa. Can play right back or left back. Ishikawa actually starting the game at right fullback last weekend against St. Mary's and then moving to a left-sided role in the second half. Meanwhile, Teufel with her back to goal, supported by Jamison Ward. Marlowe looking for some support, and she'll get it from Ward, who tries to hit it for Vasquez. Clever first touch, but only as far as Maddie Cook, who makes a no-nonsense clearance. San Francisco looking to reestablish their dominance in possession. Ishikawa going back to Cleveland. Controlled by the sophomore Ward, playing it up for Teufel. Kind of miscommunicated there with Marlowe. Had to halt her run to stay on side, and it goes over the byline, and a goal kick here for Pepperdine. Sensational day, and they've had to wait a long time to come back to Malibu here on their home campus. Controlled by Cook. Here's Sampson. And nowhere to go. And I'll tell you what, it is an open-natured affair, but space very hard to come by in the center of midfield. Nicely cleared by Watson now and controlled by Jade Sprague of San Francisco. They'll have some joy down this right, and that's been the preferred approach today for Jim Millender's team, and nowhere to go as Reyes wins it back comfortably to the feet of Anderson. Sample. And Schaefer, the halftime, first half substitute, stepping in. It's some big shoes to fill, as Little has really impressed early on. Some joy with Sampson. And well tackled by Vasquez. Here's Cook. Such a big part of the setup for Tim Ward's women. Maddie Cook starting all 4 games coming into today. So substitution coming in now for Pepperdine. They'll bring in the freshman Victoria Romero. She'll replace Sampson on this left-hand side. She brings an injection of speed. I was talking with Tim Ward earlier this morning, and he was really lauding the play of his young freshman. Able to provide the width and get into the attacking half, and that's what Waldeck's done here, waiting for the overlapping run of Joelle Anderson, who will need support. She'll get it from Schaefer, who squares it across for Callista Reyes, sorts out her feet. Reyes fires. It's a very good block from Jade Sprague. And here comes Vasquez for San Francisco. So we'll see if Romero can exploit things and open it up on the left. Watson will track it down and send it back to her goalkeeper, Cleveland. This is Sample. And a high press right here as Anderson is forced back by Isabella Esparza. Comfortable though, and that's how Pepperdine approached the game. They like to build out of the back, playing those center backs very far apart from each other. As Watson is located, McFarland, who's drifted deep now, has the supporting run on this left-hand side, and eventually covered up by Eby. And you see, once again, Romero making herself available, getting in behind that right back. And that's what she can bring. And forcing the right-hand side of that USF approach a little bit back on their heels. Schaefer. Ishikawa in a 1v1 against Marlowe. and eventually won back by Isabella Esparza, San Francisco. Possession, though, all too short-lived for the visitors. Is Sample right place at the right time. What a steadying presence she is. Really looks the part. The redshirt senior, part of the Top Drawer Soccer Team of the Week, named this past Monday. Romero now looking for Anderson. It was a 50-50 ball between Schaefer and I do believe Kerwood Wagner. He suffered the brunt of that one. That looks to be Jamison Ward. She sacrificed herself, and a free kick awarded to USF. They go direct. Once again, Teufel, great control with the chest. Sweet feet as well. Marlowe, it's been a bright presence from the substitutes bench. Works their way forward now. Nice little piece of skill from George. Converged on by 3 Pepperdine defenders before Sample clears it. Positive play from the visitors. Teufel rides the challenge of Schaefer really well, finding the link now with Vasquez. Kerwood Wagner, the dispossessed, well played. And there comes McFarland. Anderson. And it's a 1v3, but a little too heavy that time for Tori Waldeck. Hebe on the edge of her penalty area, well off her line. We've seen that on several occasions this afternoon as we hit the midpoint of half number 1. Still goalless here in Malibu between Pepperdine and the University of San Francisco. Here's Laura Ishikawa for Helen Schaefer. Watson. And you see that high pressure, this time applied by Vasquez in support of Teufel. But Anderson dropping deep to show. So tidy in possession. And two-footed, but nicely won back by USF and Jamison Ward. It will be a throw, however, in the end for Pepperdine. Reyes. Looking for some options, try to pick out Layla McFarland on that far post, but it sails over the head of the junior. And a goal kick now in the 29th minute. Eby will just let this one breathe a bit. Well, the Eby, the redshirt sophomore goalkeeper from Portland, Oregon, already with 1 shutout to her name. She's played every minute except 8. So far this season for Jim Millender's women. Vasquez did well to keep it in, but loses possession. USF winning it back behind Jade Sprague. Teufel just misjudging it. It works out nicely for Pepperdine. Schaefer with a head up. Good link to Joelle Anderson. And what can Pepperdine come up with here at a bursting run down this right-hand side from Laura Ishikawa, who's gotten behind the left back. She'll need some support. Anderson switching for Callisto Reyes. Here's Layla McFarland now for the hosts. A great piece of skill. It's McFarland, and that one blocked courageously at the back from Catherine Hill. She had beaten her mark. Layla McFarland, good coverage at the back from the Dons. But here come Pepperdine once again. This time it's Reyes steering clear, and she'll fire, but miss hitting it wide. And another goal kick coming up now for USF. Will make a triple substitution. So wholesale changes coming in. We'll get you apprised as information comes available. It does appear that it will see Bianca Code, a senior from San Francisco, checking in an attacking midfield role. Teufel will keep her spot up top. We'll sort it out, and Tim Ward will look to the bench and bring on Juliana Duckett. Freshman has really raised a lot of eyebrows. She'll replace Tori Waldeck. It'll be interesting to see where we'll see Juliana Duckett play. It looks as though it'll be like for like down the right-hand side of this attack. A player that's capable of playing really anywhere up front and a little deeper in midfield. Her versatility, no doubt, will be a valuable asset as this season progresses. Duckett gets her first touch. Broken up by the substitute Beth Ann Perry, the junior from Mountain View, California, one of those trio of substitutes that just checked in for San Francisco. It'll be a Dawn's throw. Here's Marlowe. Code. Broke it up nicely by Helen Schaefer. Here's Layla McFarland dropping centrally in a deeper role, and she'll get the support of Trinity Watson. Watson, just a junior. Schaefer. San Francisco dropping off just a bit. Here's Duckett. Taking on the likes of Esparza. Schaefer. Looking to switch the play for Layla McFarland. Well placed. The overlapping run from Romero and trying to reward it. It's heavy. Out comes Eby and just snatches it right off the foot of Romero. But once again, positive play on the front foot here from the Waves. They're putting together some real slick moves. Just looking for that final finished product in the attacking third. Code. Teufel. San Francisco. Nowhere to go now. Looked as though Watson had picked her pocket, but it will be a throw for the Dons. Sydney Cooper wearing the number 99. The third member of that trio that checks in. She'll take this free kick. Pepperdine will line up on the edge of their own box and await this delivery. They look to come short, and they will play it short. Clever stuff off the training ground as Kerwood Wagner made the run. She did well to win another corner kick. So will be the third of the afternoon for the visiting Dons. Tim wins, 8 defeats and 2 draws last year. On the outswinger, trying to pick out Sprague. A little troublesome here for Pepperdine, but the referee spotting a foul inside the area. Marlowe's really been a physical presence. Proven to be very positive as well. Had to come in for Ashley Humphrey. He came off injured earlier here in the first half. Hasn't been any let-off, however. A testament to the depth of this Dons team, but it's Schaefer in possession. McFarland. Supported by Cook. Here's Romero, lovely touch now. This is better football from Pepperdine. Sample. Duckett with their back to goal and trying to get the better of Esparza. It'll be a free kick rewarded to Pepperdine. It's a slight physical nature revealing itself here between these two. Always a spirited affair, as I mentioned. Only 2 draws in the previous 27 meetings between these NorCal and SoCal rivals. It'll be the left foot of Maddie Cook to restart it. Eby thinks about it. And a simple catch. Food and drink for a keeper of her caliber. Well, Eby spent a lot of time backing up Olivia Camara last season. But has taken the #1 gloves and has really seized her chance in between the pipes. Pepperdine enjoying a lion's share of possession, but just as I say that, Jade Sprague able to break it up. Good recovery, however, from Schaefer. Her distribution out of the center of midfield has been outstanding since coming on as a first-half substitute. It'll be offside, however, on Layla McFarland. Now the soccer is more expansive. Pepperdine asking more questions as the first half rolls on. 10 minutes until halftime. Still no goals here in Malibu. Been pretty pleasing on the eye. Anderson for Schaefer. A redshirt freshman from La Crescenta and Flint Ridge Preparatory. She'll defer to Callista Reyes. The senior from Las Vegas drops the shoulder on the edge of the box, trying to pick out the run of McFarland, but intercepted and caught nicely by Eby. USF able to get it back, and Sprague just sends it forward. So double switch now for San Francisco. And Pepperdine making a change as well. We'll see Skylar Engie, the U.S. Women's National Team under-19, come in to check into a midfield role. Meanwhile, Pepperdine bringing in Kaylin Lunsford, who will take up a spot on the left-hand side of attack here for the Dons. And the other substitute, Anna Gorlak, the freshman from Portland, Oregon, checking in as well. Cook wins it back on Pepperdine's behalf, but only as far as Esparza. Here's Marlowe, has her pocket picked by Ishikawa. And once again, you see Pepperdine, or rather San Francisco, trying to create these overloads in the attacking half. Here is Lunsford now, slipping right past Ishikawa, who recovered nicely. Cook, nowhere to go. Code, the first half sub, well closed down by Schaefer, and Duckett dropping deeper to win it back on Pepperdine's behalf. Here's Reyes, who's drifted all the way to the near side, but they're pinned in their own half. Beth Ann Perry trying to get things going for USF. Duckett unable to get it going for Pepperdine, and here comes San Francisco. That one drifts out at play. So it will be a Pepperdine throw-in. It's, of course, the 5th game of the season. Reyes. Schaefer. Ran the challenge well. A little overly aggressive that time from Bianca Code, the senior. And Pepperdine really in no hurry to get this one going, as they like to send everyone up. And Watson will send it into the Malibu sky, just over the head of McFarland. Duckett's drifted over from her right-sided roll over to the left now. Nowhere to go for the freshman. Beth Ann Perry now. Nice ball played down the right-hand side for the substitute, Sydney Cooper. He's got a lot of pace in those legs. But it's Layla McFarland, and the Waves able to win it. Schaefer. Met by a full-blooded challenge from Marlowe, who did really well in that 50-50 and leaves Schaefer in her wake, who's still on the floor. And the referee will stop play on the 40-14 mark here, 5 minutes from halftime, and it was a full-blooded challenge between Marlowe and Helen Schaefer. That will bring the temperature up. Another look at it here. It's a 50-50 ball. No foul awarded. And Marie Marlowe is not shied away from the physical side of the game early on. We've already seen one player go off with injury earlier. There's Ashley Humphrey. Had to go off for USF. Another look at this challenge here. She got the ball, but then cleared out Schaefer. A little bit of a wild challenge, but play resumes with Pepperdine in possession. Lovely turn from Enge. Cook trying to reward Romero now as McFarland just tucks in the overlap provided by Romero. Good step forward in the center defense from Gordlach, the freshman. And USF get it back. Trying to work it down this right-hand side. The touch from Cooper. Code locked up in a 1v1, a spirited affair there between Code and Trinity Watson, who stepped out over back four. Marlowe, clever turn right past Ishikawa, and here it comes from Marie Marlowe. And Sample able to close in, providing very good cover for her right back. Good team defending back there, but really strong effort from Marlowe, who's been a real handful, whether it be down the left or in a more central role, as we've seen in the last 5 or 6 minutes. Another look at it here. She gets the turn past Ishikawa, and good coverage, smart defending, and excellent reading of the game from the redshirt senior Emily Sample. So it will be the corner. That one will drift out, disappointing from USF, and a simple goal kick here for the Waves. So we'll see a substitution now, and Alex Hobbs will come on, the sophomore for Pepperdine, in relief of Callista Reyes, and she'll take up a role on that left-hand side of attack. You talk about chopping and changing, all kinds of options. But when I was talking to Tim Ward, the Pepperdine head coach, he's really lauding his young players. Experience is, of course, going to be paramount for them, but he likes the injection of youth and energy and attacking punch that these youngsters have. Here is Schaefer, one of them. And McFarland has drifted over to this right-hand side now, switching roles with Duckett. She has the support of Maddie Cook. Romero making herself available as San Francisco playing a little bit of a high line. Cooper dropping back and cleared away by Gorlach. Only as far, though, as Pepperdine's Maddie Cook. And there's the first touch of the game from Enge. Here's Victoria Romero for the hosts. Cook. Hobbs playing just in front of Romero. There's a lot of speed down that left-hand side. That's where a lot of this game has been played, whether it be the Pepperdine left-hand side or the USF preferred right-hand side on the attack. Referee wanting to sort things out. And we'll head over to the sideline. A momentary stop of the clock. And it will be a San Francisco throw. Final minute of the first half. And out it will go. So plenty of, for both of these two coaches to mull over. Of course, Jim Millender and Tim Ward, very good friends throughout the years. Put that friendship aside for 90 minutes today. And San Francisco throw it in down the right, but nowhere to go. Well closed down. And Pepperdine looking to create one last chance just before halftime. Here's Duckett. Well defended. You have to applaud the defending on both sides this afternoon. 20 seconds left here in the first period. Romero's throw. Trying to locate Duckett. Here's Hobbs, who just checked in, supported by Schaefer. 10 seconds left. They'll send it forward now, and out comes Eby, and that will be the end of the first half of play. And don't let this scoreline fool you. Plenty of chances and a real strong start in the first 10 to 15 minutes from San Francisco. Pepperdine, though, some key substitutions in the first half, able to play their way back into it and ask some questions of their own. But as a result, 45 minutes in the books and 45 minutes to go. It is halftime here in Malibu, and our scoreline reads: the Pepperdine Waves 0, the Dons of San Francisco 0. First out on the pitch, and Pepperdine ready to get this second half underway. We are goalless here on this campus of Pepperdine. So they ring the changes in the first half, and we'll see Shelby Little reinserted here to the setup once again as we get set for the final period. Juliana Duckett keeping her spot. And Tori Waldeck will be thrust into a left-sided role. She started on the right. Meanwhile, the Dons seeing Vasquez on the right. They'll have 4 at the back, 1 holding. So really a 4-1-4-1, if you will, however you want to chalk it up. Either side backing down from the attacking philosophy, that's for sure. And right off the back, it's cleared away by Isabella Esparza. Pepperdine knocking on the door. Good control in the middle as they try to set it up. It's Waldeck who couldn't steer it past a duo of Dawn defenders. In the end, routine work that time from Molly Eby. And her goalkeeper very busy in the first half. Well controlled by Ishikawa. An interesting move here. We've seen Ishikawa. She'll move over to the left fullback role in the second half, where she started at right, and Pepperdine will bring in Erin Sinai to start the second half at right back. So bit of a switch defensively. Watson and Sample in the middle, but it's Waldeck now linking up well with Juliana Duckett. And positive play once again from Duckett. She's really looked the part, hasn't she? And a breath of fresh air off the bench. Played a half an hour at St. Mary's last weekend. Has soccer in her blood. Her sister Brianna playing up north at UC Davis. After playing here in Southern California in the Rancho Cucamonga area. So Watson to take the ensuing corner, and that one just steered over the bar. So it'll be a goal kick now for Molly Eby. Eby, a towering presence in there, 6 feet. Has that prototypical build of a goalkeeper. You want strong hands, good size. Ishikawa. Anderson. He's taken that strapping off of her right leg. Remember, she had a bit of a quad strain. She had that coming into St. Mary's. They took her off as a precaution. Tim Moore saying it was a wise move in the end. She's looked really bright in training this week. Teufel now has her pocket picked by Trinity Watson. Experienced defending, but a little too heavy for the likes of Shelby Little, the sophomore from nearby Thousand Oaks. Just on the other side of the canyon here from Malibu. Here comes Engie, who's also kept her spot after a first half substitute appearance. Looks as though Sinai is down here. And rather Sample. Very, very slow to get up. And I tell you what, this is a player they cannot afford to lose. She's been vital. She and Watson, part of one of the best defensive duos in the entire West Coast Conference. And she's as tough as they come. And the redshirt senior from Plano, Texas now able to continue on. That'll be a big relief. Scored the first goal of her career a few weeks ago at San Diego. Going from strength to strength in her final season here in Malibu. So free kick on the opposite side. Reyes to send it in. And it'll drop to the feet of San Francisco's Isabella Esparza. And out of play. Engie for Sinai. Couldn't find the link to Maddie Cook, in San Francisco only too happy to oblige. Here's Mariska Vasquez, who really was a terror in the first half. Started very strong. Progress here from Marlowe, but Cook able to get her foot to it. Nowhere to go for Cassidy George, and all the way back to the central defender, Kenna Roth, part of that duo back there with this woman, Catherine Hill, who sends it forward. She's wearing the armband tonight. Good play from Kerwood Wagner for Vasquez. Gets the cross off. Good-looking cross it was. What a delivery. Trying to pick out Marlowe, but the header ultimately high. Once again, Marissa Vasquez having a standout performance thus far. Just trying to stretch that back four. Gets in behind Ishikawa, who gives her a little too much space and picks out Marlowe. Wonderful delivery. Marlowe want to have that one back. Got her head to it, but couldn't direct it on target. Zoe Cleveley hasn't had a lot to do this afternoon. Let off the hook. Here is Vasquez. Sent forward by Jamison Ward, trying to find her way to Teufel. And Cook will send it back to Sample. This is Sinai. Trying to work it down the line. Duckett wraps her feet around it. She's done really well to initiate things in the center now. Trying to pick out the run on that far side. Good movement there from Shelby Little. And Skylar Engie, my apologies. And it's going to be a foul in the end, as the studs were up on Engie. The freshman, of course, from Cardiff, California. Another look at it here, and Duckett does really well to dig it out. Goes the direct approach over the top. Engie in that 1v1. In the end, well defended, as Eby came off her line along with her defenders. So a free kick here for Catherine Hill and USF. Marlowe. Getting hogtied there, so to speak, with Erin Sinai. Pepperdine win the throw. Critical juncture right about now, early on in the second half. Both teams wanting to set the tempo, dictate, and impose their style. Been pretty even thus far, the first 52 minutes, however. Ward trying to help it forward in tandem with Cassidy George, but Sample comes away with it. Back to her partner, Watson, who finds Cook. This is Laura Ishikawa for the Pepperdine Waves. Anderson dropping deeper. She can play the 10, she can play the 9. In my estimation, she could play anywhere across midfield as well. Now, a wonderful ball played into space now as Sinai arrives. She's got Little and Duckett centrally. Plays it down the line for Shelby Little, who's done really well here. In the end, nicely defended. Little can't believe it. She was locked up in a 1v1 with Catherine Hill. But the linesman awards the goal kick. Seen some positive play from both. Pepperdine going to direct approach. It's paid some dividends, but both sides still looking for their first goal. And interestingly enough, it will be Hill to take the goal kick instead of Eby, the goalkeeper. Swing and a miss from Watson, who recovers well. Joelle Anderson, slick turn. Such a languid, graceful presence on the ball, isn't she? Sinai for Duckett, dropping deep to show. She'll need some support, and she'll get it. Anderson very deep, works it forward now. This is Engie, trying to release Shelby Little, but asking too much of the sophomore from Thousand Oaks. First substitution of half number 2, and it will be San Francisco bringing off Marissa Vasquez and bringing on number 99, Sydney Cooper. To add some pace on this right. A little bit of a wrinkle thrown in as Cooper, the senior from San Clemente, has already hit from the penalty spot this season. That coming last weekend in that 3-2 loss in Provo to number 21, BYU. Roth will pop one up. Just top the foot of Sinai, who couldn't control it. Well read by Skylar Engie, whose sister Sierra playing for defending national champion Stanford. Engie having a say in that match against Pepperdine as well, finding the back of the net against her sister and the Waves. But this is Teufel going to work now for San Francisco, supported well by Kerwood Wagner. Cooper trying to put an end to a good spell from the Waves. Roth works it wide to the left-hand side for Isabella Sparza. Good block in. Engie doing the dirty work this time. And look at the high pressure from Pepperdine, trying to get out and counter press. And eventually sent back to Trinity Watson. First touch, good. Second touch, even better from Joelle Anderson, who's sparkling right now and releasing an onside. Tori Waldeck was on the score sheet last weekend at St. Mary. She's done brilliantly here. Waldeck trying to send one in. It's Skylar Engie. Not a bad effort. And a little bit of a bobble from Eby. But the first shot on target of the second half here for the Pepperdine Waves. And some enterprising play. Started off by Anderson. Beautiful little run there from Waldeck, and on the ricochet was Engie, only too happy to take advantage. And I'll tell you what, she's been active and she has been lively, Skylar Engie. Engie's brother also playing collegiate soccer at Tufts. Can imagine the rivalries back at the Engie household. Pretty intense, I'm sure, but a throw in now for San Francisco. Teufel leaves it back, the touch from Ward. Teufel dropping into a deeper position, and she'll need the support, and she'll get it of Catherine Hill, the captain. Trying to hit the diagonal for Cooper, but overhit. Not much the senior could do with that. Cooper playing wide on this right-hand side. Left short by Ishikawa, claimed by Roth, kept in nicely by Kerwood Wagner. And dwelling on it too long is Catherine Hill, and here comes Pepperdine. It looks to be about a 3v5. Anderson slowed by Roth. 50-50 challenge, and it was Anderson who wanted the foul. Referee letting it play on. No foul awarded. The referee stopped playing right now. So it's going to be a drop ball at midfield. Something you don't see a lot of. So she will sort this out. Not sure what she has seen. She's going to take a trip to the sideline here to confer with her linesman and wants to talk things over. She might have seen something that escaped us. Remember, it was a tough collision back there with the number 6, Catherine Hill, as well as Anderson. Anderson did not like the nature of that confrontation, and that's what the linesman and the referee are discussing right now. Was there something in that? A little bit of afters. And that looks to be the case here, perhaps. She's awarded the free kick to San Francisco. Well, eventually they sort it out. Sinaida wins it back, and right back to work comes Pepperdine. Just past Anderson, claimed by Jade Sprague. Near side for the San Francisco winger Cooper. Well read by Watson on the step. And into the Dons' half, it comes out of play for a Pepperdine throw. 59th minute. Decent start for both of these two in the second half. Joelle Anderson, so good with her back to goal. Ishikawa for Maddie Cooper. One touch for Juliana Duckett. How about the touch from Duckett, using her power to spin right off Catherine Hill and set Waldeck on her way, but it's a full-blooded challenge. These San Francisco defenders strong in the tackle, as you saw that time from Kenna Roth. Came in full-blooded on Tori Waldeck, so it will be a Pepperdine throw. Anderson tangled up, well won from Jade Sprague. She's really gathering a lot of the attention of these San Francisco defenders. Joelle Anderson converged on by 1, 2, sometimes 3 defenders. She's very much the fulcrum in the center and kind of the creative inspiration. Very much a marked woman, if you will. Here's Erin Sinai able to take over. Sloppy distribution now. Here comes Little for an onside Joelle Anderson. She's got Waldeck in the area. Duckett arrives. Anderson nutmegs her defender. Anderson, brilliant piece of play across the face of goal. This is their chance. Little couldn't take it. Waldeck sending it in. Anderson has a go, and it's Juliana Duckett. Has it taken right off of her foot by Molly Eby. Pepperdine somehow coming away with nothing as they heap on the pressure. And how about the 1v1 skill from Joelle Anderson to slip right through the defense and put it into that danger area across the face of goal. Pepperdine unable to take their chance. So Layla McFarland will check the second half, San Francisco. So Marlowe has been playing a variety of roles up top, chiefly amongst them on the left-hand side. Remember, she came in for Ashley Humphrey, who we still haven't seen after she went off with injury in the first half. Here's the touch from Beth Ann Perry and a muscular challenge from behind from Duckett, who argues the call, but not much grounds for an argument there. So it'll be a free kick here for Catherine Hill, who steps forward. The red shirt sophomore from Salt Lake City. Part of the all-freshman setup for the West Coast Conference last year after a very impressive debut season for the Dons. So the captain will line it up. And a good dead ball opportunity. Cleveley comes and punches for it and steered to safety by Anderson. We are at the midpoint of half number 2 and still looking for our game's first goal between Pepperdine and the University of San Francisco. Great to have you along, and what is a stunning day here in Malibu. Duckett in a foot race now, laying it up for McFarland. Good defending in the back from Samantha Kerwood-Wagner. Experienced defending from the junior from Redondo Beach. This is Maddie Cook. Watson eludes the challenge from behind, well weighted in a burst forward. This is it, it's Anderson, yes! And Joelle Anderson right up the guts, and a sensational build-up play released by Watson and finished in style by Pepperdine's fabulous number 9. Her first goal of the campaign, the 22nd of her career, and Pepperdine finally with the breakthrough 69 minutes in. 1-0 to the Waves. Another look. Watson did well to step, and then how about this beautifully weighted ball, but the composure, as she's got so much work to do ahead of her, rides the challenge, keeps it low, and slips it right under Eby. That is next level stuff from a player that's going to go down in the history books here in Malibu as one of the best. And let me tell you, they have had some good ones over the years. What a goal. The goal credited in the 69th minute. And Joelle Anderson beautifully set up on the first assist of the season for Trinity Watson, who played such an integral part in that goal. So what kind of a response will we see from San Francisco? They've done well as Marlowe has earned the corner. We'll see what they draw up. The 5th of the afternoon. They'll take it to the near post. Cleveley not catching, but punching. Steering it low was Kaya Pagoni to a sea of defenders. It was a great chance on the edge of the 6-yard box. And the chances now coming fast and furious. Here's Cooper. Bearing down, good exchange now with Caitlin Lunsford. Squares it across for Pagoni, trying to find her way to Marlowe. Pagoni gets a foot in, Marlowe is in, and it's Marie Marlowe for San Francisco, but stopped cold at that near post. Good position in time from Zoe Cleveley. She was running away from goal, Pagoni, but managed to get the shot off. "20 minutes left here in Malibu. An important goal from Joelle Anderson. Who else? Playing a little bit deeper throughout most of this affair, but in that comfortable number 9 role where she is so adept, able to pounce and finishing of the highest order, you'd have to say. And it's up to San Francisco to claw their way back. Marlowe forced to drop deep over the head of Sinai, and now Lunsford's worked her way into space, cuts it back, leaves it across. Lunsford off the crossbar. Unlucky for San Francisco, but I do believe the flag had gone up. Would have been called back for offside, but how about the enterprising play down that left-hand side from San Francisco, setting it up for Lunsford. Another look, it was just a burst. Good piece of skill. Lunsford just a bit unlucky to hit the underside of the bar. Scary moment back there, but still the clean sheet intact for Zoe Cleveley, who will defer to Trinity Watson, who's got a cannon of a right foot. Header won by Hill. Anderson, the goal scorer, just sending it to safety. Couple of good chances. Pagoni and Lunsford putting himself about. Excellent response, and you really couldn't ask for anything more if you're head coach Jim Millender. Intercepted on that far side by Kenna Roth. Tim Ward off of his seat, imploring his team, changing the shape just a bit. Engie will go off along with the goal scorer Anderson. Stepping onto the scene today will be Alex Sampson. She'll come in and we'll get our first look of the afternoon of Kelsey Hill, a redshirt junior, the transfer from St. Mary's. Had to sit out last year due to transfer protocol. Scored a couple of goals up north in 38 appearances with the Gales. So we'll see how she slots in to a midfield role, it does appear. And it will be the free kick for Catherine Hill. Down goes Callista Reyes, chopped by Pagoni. Free kick for the Waves. Looking for their third win in 4 games and their third win of the season. Coming at a crucial time, and these conference games mean so much. Popped up by Roth, tracked down by Pepperdine substitute Alex Sampson. Flag had gone up on Kelsey Hill. So the free kick here for San Francisco. Pepperdine really showing off their depth, and that kind of illustrates a point perfectly. Tim Ward telling me before the start of this season, this may be the deepest team that I have ever had. And this guy's been here for all but one of the 28 years of this program. Now in his 23rd year as head coach. He's had some good ones, making it all the way to the Sweet 16. That includes that great team from 2002 as well. Marlowe just sticks a foot up. Clever skill there, setting it up for Lunsford, the sophomore from El Segundo, California. She's really made some clever inroads down this left-hand side, but well defended by Callista Reyes. Those two dueling it out. So it will be a throw for the Dons. Quarter of an hour left here in Malibu. He gets set for the long throw, and it will be the strength of Pagoni. Lunsford closed down by Erin Sinai. She'll need the support, and she'll get it. Pagoni just chipping it in, looking for Cooper, but over the head of the San Francisco winger. And here comes Trinity Watson for Alex Sampson. Fresh legs for the freshman Sampson. Duckett. Smart play from her. And Cook hitting the diagonal for McFarland, getting in behind the fullback, and does really well to keep it in. Hill makes herself available, but it's cleared away by San Francisco defender Samantha Kerwood-Wagner. Juliana Duckett with a great understanding and a great head for this game. Dropping into space, playing in others. whether it be in a central role or wide. And here's the aforementioned, losing out on that 50-50. Coming across is Hill to clear it away. Pepperdine looking for that insurance goal to wrap up a big victory. Looking for their 16th win in 28 meetings between these two schools. Layla McFarland with a little bit of a shove there on Marie Marlowe. Just extending her hand. She doesn't back down from the physical nature of the game either. McFarland, the junior from Bonte, California, born in San Diego, actually part of the Northern Ireland under-19 setup due to her heritage. Actually played a part in the 2017 under-19 European Championship for the Northern Irish team. There's a speculative effort from Beth Ann Perry. No harm done, and Zoe Cleveley will live with that every minute of the day. San Francisco looking for some fresh ideas. Pepperdine looking to steer this one out. That's the 7th goal of the season for the Waves. Tracked down by Pepperdine's Erin Sinai, a 5'5" fullback from Carlsbad, in her senior year. And how can Pepperdine manage this game? That is the question that will be answered here in the final 12.5 minutes. Robust challenge from Hill. Cook wraps her left foot around it, setting Sampson on her way. She's done well to pull it back across. Arriving is McFarland. Well closed down by Isabella Esparza. McFarland will get it back where she's supported by Hill. Watson, first time hit, lovely first time touch from Sampson. Ishikawa. See Kelsey Hill just dropping in front of that back four, that proverbial number 6, as they say. Too hot to handle for McFarland, and it drops fortuitously for Esparza, who will send it back to Eby. The 5th goal allowed. There could be more coming here. Sampson for Duckett. Has Callisto Reyes trying to dig it out of her feet, but couldn't get the shot off. Sampson a little heavy on the touch, pulls it across the face of goal. Had a great recovery there, Sampson. She's had a lot of joy down the left, and more trouble for Molly Eby, junior goalkeeper. Sampson going right back to work on the Waves' behalf. Duckett trying to reverse it through for McFarland, who made that diagonal run towards the middle, but overhit in the end. Hill wins the header, flicked forward by Pagoni into the path of Cooper, who tries to play it forward for Kaylin Lunsford to no avail, and that will bring about a triple substitution now for San Francisco, and one sub as the very impressive Juliana Duckett will head to the bench. Tori Waldeck replacing her. So Vasquez back on. Sprague back onto the scene as well for San Francisco, and Teufel coming into her familiar role into attack. They need a goal, and they need it soon. And here's Teufel, who gets the touch right off the bench. Vasquez. Sample gets ahead to it, but only as far as Jade Sprague. And the freshman from Laguna Beach losing out now, and it falls sweetly to the feet of Layla McFarland. Good understanding with Hill. It will need the support of Cook. Sampson. Awkward one to control, but she's done well on the burst, trying to play it through on the run from Waldeck. And what we're seeing is this movement off the ball from Pepperdine is really showing a good understanding, whether it be Juliana Duckett, Waldeck, McFarland, and Sampson, reading each other and playing off of each other very well. Tim Ward telling me, look, I don't have a pressure team, I've got a rhythm team, and they're starting to find it. 10 minutes to go here in Malibu. Pepperdine leading on a second half goal. A brilliant strike from Joelle Anderson on the 69th minute. That's where we stand. Critical juncture right now for the Dons. Heavy ball and asking too much of Layla McFarland. San Francisco, after a performance in which Jim Millender praised his team at Brigham Young, said, hey, in my 9 years here at San Francisco, that's the best we had ever played against a very good Cougar team. They pushed them all the way to the end. So Sampson will come out for Pepperdine. More changes. It's Pagoni steps in for Lunsford. She'll take up a role at center forward. Interesting changes now for San Francisco. Trying to push it back. Joelle Anderson back on the scene and picking up right where she left off. The touch from Hill back to her keeper, Eby, and she had Waldeck on her back. Powerful header forward from Maddie Cook, who did really well to win it. Callista Reyes dispossessed, and it's sent mistakenly out of play. It will be a throw for Pepperdine here in the 83rd. Anderson for Callista Reyes. It's on for McFarland. She's got some space. More first touch from her. Good recovery. It's McFarland, and a good block in there. I believe it was Hill who threw herself into the path of the shot. Pepperdine right back to work now. Hill in support from midfield. And a nice tackle and a challenge from Esparza. It was as tough as they come back there, but wave after wave, no pun intended, from Pepperdine. And nothing coming about on the latest advancement. Time of the essence. Throw it now for Samantha Kerwood Wagner. We'll see yet another substitution. So we'll see Gabby Rizzo check in to defense here for San Francisco, the freshman from Huntington Beach. Important one for her at an important time as Jim Millender looking for some answers. Pushed forward now, Teufel only as far as Cook, who makes a no-nonsense clearance. San Francisco setting up camp in the Pepperdine half. Rizzo sending it forward, but not the best of first touches now, and possession paramount for Pepperdine if they want to see it out. McFarland for Joelle Anderson. No one on the left-hand side. Late in arriving is Ishikawa. Brilliant touch around Vasquez. McFarland dropping into his central role, playing it for Reyes, who's made herself available. It's Reyes stinging the gloves of Molly Eby, who was very well positioned. Five minutes to go. Ward helping it forward for Teufel. And muscular challenge from Sample. Tossing aside the smaller Teufel. She is built as a prototypical central defender. Emily Sample, I can tell you that. That's why she's been so successful in her career thus far. In her final season in Malibu. This is a good opportunity as Pagoni will line it up. Keeps it low, looking for a little trickery. Trying to slip it under the wall, and more substitutions coming in. Another double switch for San Francisco as they continue to rotate the core of attackers. Calista Reyes off for Pepperdine. Victoria Romero on for the Waves. Cassidy George back onto the scene right now for San Francisco. And Bianca Code, the number 14 in black. As the Dons looking squarely in the face of their second defeat of the season and their second in succession. Unless something changes here. Pagoni. Strong player, did well to put Vasquez on her way. The cross from Vasquez is there. Good concentration, you'd have to say, from Zoe Cleveley. Hearts aflutter about 20 minutes ago on a series of chances. That's awkward for a goalkeeper when it takes a bounce like that. Did well to keep her concentration and not succumb any rebound. So Marie Marlowe steering it forward for Kalena Teufel. They were unable to work her way past Emily Sample. Pepperdine nearly there, 3 minutes away. Trying to make it 3 from 4. Make it 5. Had 3 in their last 4, and that would be about time you want to click into gear. It's a strange season this year. And not a lot of time to really establish form. So the earlier the better. And this would do wonders for their confidence. And a tough trip away to Pacific before paying a visit to Portland. Ludlow Field, never an easy place to play up in the Pacific Northwest. But first things first now, 88th minute. San Francisco up against it. Do they have anything left? Kerwood Wagner on the throw. Vasquez has done well, but there's Anderson doing some of the dirty work back there. Kerwood Wagner's done nicely. And Ishikawa will send it forward via the header. Cleared away by Waldeck. And looking to apply the pressure now is Romero, is wrestled to ground. The bigger Catherine Hill. Kaya Pagoni, she's got a cultured right foot. Onside for Kalena Teufel. Well closed by Trinity Watson. Nice piece of defending. Watson steps out, and McFarland wins it. And Anderson just blindly playing it forward. Under 90 seconds left in this one. And getting close to being last chance saloon for the Dons. And it'll go back past Rizzo, and Eby just gets a foot to it. Final minute. So back to Eby, seconds left. Rizzo. This may be it. Pagoni needs something special now. Here comes San Francisco trying to work it forward for Marlowe. Arriving is Ward. This may be it. Is there one last look for the Dons? Pagoni now. Less than 15 seconds left. Rizzo sending it forward. Hill, she'll have a pop, and that one will sail out. And so too will the chances for San Francisco. Despite the spirited effort, a brave victory though for Pepperdine as they see it out on a second half strike from Joelle Anderson, set up beautifully by Trinity Watson. It's a third win in 4 for Tim Ward's women, and they move to 3-2 on the season. San Francisco dropped their second straight, moving to 1 win, 2 defeats, and 1 draw in what was a thoroughly entertaining affair here in Malibu. Pretty even Stevens in the first 45 minutes. Some great questions were asked by San Francisco. Pagoni with a good chance. This one for Marlowe on a lovely cross from Vasquez. Then Juliana Duckett really asserted her presence and left her mark, putting it right into the path for, I believe, Skylar Inge, but it was a good save for Molly Eby. Waldeck had some great moments down the left. Enge's shot, though, easily saved by Molly Eby, who was impressive in goal today for the Dons. And then more Waldeck finding that joy on the left. And it was Anderson nutmegging the defender. And this really was where they could have made it 1-0. But it was Waldeck's shot that was blocked. And in the end, Duckett couldn't get to it before Molly Eby. Waldeck again putting it across the face of goal. That one poked in, and another save from the San Francisco goalkeeper. And then it was set up for Anderson. Juliana Duckett finding herself on that loose ball, and then the whirling dervish herself, Joelle Anderson, with some sublime skill. But give credit where credit is due. This one was built on some graft and some physical work. The free kick was put in nicely by Catherine Hill. The punch out from Cleveley. More from Pepperdine late on in the second half. McFarland well defended by Samantha Kerwood-Wagner. And then Watson, this was the defining moment, right into the path. And how about that for a finish? That is international. That is world-class quality from Joelle Anderson. Just a stupendous goal. As I mentioned, Anderson grabbing her 22nd of her legendary career, but they weren't out of the woods. The set-piece opportunities presented chances for San Francisco. They dodged the bullet there, and then it was Marlowe, who was a menace, trying to steer that tough angle, but couldn't beat Cleveley. More work down this left-hand side. Lunsford came close, hit the underside of the crossbar, and that's where a little bit of luck came into play, perhaps, for Pepperdine. And then on the dead ball opportunity, Pepperdine bailed out on the foul by Pagoni. She wrestles down Callista Reyes. The dying moments as the Waves are looking for the insurance goal. The very lively McFarland steers it right into the path of the supporting run from Romero, who was late in getting there. And then more from McFarland. She really had the bit between her teeth. So much determination from the junior. Sampson was impressive too. It was the whole core of these substitutes for the Waves. And then Duckett, a little bit of a half chance there, trying to work it forward on the diagonal reverse. Vasquez, who was a bright spot, delivers another timely cross, but well read. And in the end, it's a second consecutive shutout for Pepperdine. The final score, Pepperdine 1, San Francisco 0. On behalf of all the good people here at Pepperdine, this is Christian Miles saying so long from Malibu.